What's the best controller settings for laser beaming and mega crackhead type flicking? A lot of people have been asking for my updated Season 14 settings, especially you, Lorenzo. I see you in every single one of my videos asking. So here they are. Actually hop right into the meat and potatoes of my controller settings for Season 14. I just need to point out that I play on a very different button layout, controller settings, and a different controller than the average player. A lot of average players, they play with the default Xbox or PlayStation controller, whatever comes in the box. I myself play on two different pro controllers. I play on the Elite Series 2 controller from Microsoft, and I also have a custom build controller from Cinch Gaming with 4 buttons on the back and swappable thumbsticks, digital triggers, and digital buttons. So again, my controllers are very different than the average player, which gives me a little bit more benefits that you may not have. The main difference, and really the only difference that truly matters, are my thumbsticks. My left thumbstick is a short thumbstick, my right thumbstick, my aiming stick, is a tall thumbstick, which is going to give me extra leverage over my analog stick, which in turn, I play on a really fast sense. That extra leverage is going to help dull down how fast my sensitivity is and give me way more control over those really fast, big flicks. My Season 14 settings. We're going to start off with our controller settings, and then we'll work into the other stuff that's a little less important. Button layout is basically default, with the exception that I basically changed what my crouch button was so that I would be able to crouch while inside of a death box, because as long as your crouch is mapped to the button you use to back out, which in my case would be B to back out of a box, you can't actually crouch. It just takes priority and kicks you out of the box. So now I can actually use my Y button, which is mapped to my paddle on the back of my controller, and then I can crouch while inside of a death box. My stick layout, default, my interact and reload. This is very controversial. I like to have mine on hold to reload and tap to use, as opposed to tap to use and tap to reload. The reason why is because now I can shoot and look at something. Oh, I don't have any ammo. I can just shoot and look at something and reload my gun, as opposed to picking it up, right? So it gives me the option to reload on doors while looking at them, reload on zip lines, reload while looking at different stuff on the ground, right? And it doesn't mess me up. Crouch button, I play on hold, not toggle. Main reason why is because hold gives you significantly more control over everything that you're doing, and I play with paddles on the back of my controller, so it's actually really easy for me to hold that crouch button because of those paddles. Survival slot is turned off. If I really want to use a heat shield, I'll open up my inventory and grab a heat shield like that. Now I'm able to crack my knuckles, and if I had an heirloom, because I just switched from console where all of my heirlooms are at, I'd be able to spin my kunai, my Pathfinder gloves, or something like that. Trigger dead zones, you obviously want that as low as possible. The sooner you can shoot, the better. Menu cursor speed, a little above halfway. I like this to be fast so I can quickly zoom around and pick stuff up out of a box. I don't play with the default aiming sensitivity thingamabobbers. I play with advanced look controls. Movement dead zone, small inverted look, off, vibration, off. I don't care about vibration. Advanced look controls. Now this is what's actually important. These top 3 settings, in my opinion, are like the only important settings that make my settings, in my opinion, good, right? Or just what makes and breaks settings in general, right? So dead zone, you obviously want that as low as possible. I can handle 4. Anything less than 4%, it drifts way too much on my controller. Outer threshold, 3%. Response curve, 0. Response curve is kind of like what kind of car you drive, right? Like if you have a really high response curve, it's like driving a soccer mom van. But if you have a really low response curve, it's a really responsive Formula 1 car. And I love having a really responsive analog stick. Per optics, I just turn every per optic up by 0.2, right? So every optic is 0.2 more than the last one. And that just helps me, if I'm ever up close and I have like a 3x scope and I'm like hip firing somebody, I know that if I ADS, it's not going to be insanely slow because it has 0.4 extra speed. So it's just like a nice little boost for me. Yaw speed nearly maxed out on 430. Pitch speed nearly maxed out. Turning extra yaw maxed out. Delays, turn off the delays. These really suck. ADS 182. Pitch speed 190, and then extra yaw while ADS 90. The reason why this isn't 190 anymore is because I was finding myself to be a little inconsistent with my aiming. Ever since I lowered it, I've been way more consistent. Then aim assist obviously turned on, and all that stuff there turned off. Coming on into the gameplay. Compact as opposed to default for the interact prompt style. This just cleans up your screen significantly. Button hints. That should actually be off. I don't even know why that was turned on. Crosshair damage off. Damage numbers, change that to stacking. Stacking is like significantly better. Actually, I'll even show you too. You may not even know this. Stacking counts how much damage you've done, right? Versus, are you really going to count all that? Ping opacity, faded, just get that clutter off. Our strain obituaries on, minimap rotation off, weapon cycle off, auto sprint on. If you're on controller, turn on your auto sprint. Please, it is so helpful. Double tap to sprint. I used to have this on, turn that off. Jetpack on toggle, that should actually be on hold. Damage 3D, taking damage, closest death box. You have to have this off. You have to have this off. If this is on, you are throwing so bad, right? Like imagine trying to armor swap off of a box and somebody shoots you and kicks you out of the box and you don't get that armor swap. Game changing. Having this off is just game changing. Hop up, pop up, turn that off. You know what the hop up does. You don't need the game to tell you every single time you pick it up. Sherman mode off because I don't care. Anonymous mode, I don't care. See my name in the kill feed, does not bother me. Usage sharing, cool. Performance display, yes, because I lag a lot and I want to know when I'm lagging. My reticle customized. Oh my, dude, my laser sight got turned off. What? I was wondering why it wasn't blue anymore. There we go. I like that. Reticle. My reticle is like a light blue. There's numbers right there if you want to copy it. And there's my new laser sight that I just changed. Oh, colorblind mode off, subtitles off, blah 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 blah. This is all unimportant. There's the gameplay, mouse and keyboard. I don't play mouse. Video display. Full screen, native, resolution, brightness, FOV 110, duh. Minimal, disabled, and just basically like the lowest that I can put on everything other than like texture streaming budget. Everything else is basically turned off for better